Guys are awesome. So welcome to a mindful meetup. Uh, this is kind of so previous mindful meetups. I've kind of based them off the chakra system, and so this cycle is our very first cycle, and I'm gonna do the same thing. So we're gonna focus on the root chakra today. This is just a little bit of background. So essentially these sessions we're looking to have some cope, some love, some being here in the present. That's what now represents. And then Ram. Ram is just the sound. It's the sound that existence makes essentially. So I say now matters now because it's part of my practice, and I'm saying be present, not perfect. So this is like an environment where we're just connecting with each other. It looks very formal because I'm extra, but generally it's just, I do these things every day for my own wellness. And well, I don't have to explain myself to you people. You all know me. You came here. There will be more context later. So I like to say that I'm a soul having a human experience. That's actually part of my practice. Um, I have all kinds of certifications and stuff like that. If there's any questions or concerns about what I'm sharing, please let me know. None of this is to say, do this and then you'll be saved, or listen to what I did because I know the way. None of it's any of that. So this is just to let you know that I'm just here as myself. So I put together an agenda for today. So we're going to sort of do some welcomes and check-ins. We're going to have some information and discussion. So I have a couple of short videos to sort of inform our discussions and our practice. Then we do a guided meditation practice, and we do a checkout and what I like to call a personal practice plan. Uh, if you're a peer worker or you know anything about stuff right now, it seems like everybody's all about who's copywriting what. So that's something I've come up with. Our mindful meetups are intended safe havens, so they help us settle into a safe and accepting environment in which we can explore our individual practice. So, with open minds, we work together to discover the best ways to remove obstacles to inner peace, alleviate our suffering, and deepen our personal capacity to heal. So, with open hearts, we access our own inner guidance to understand where the greatest connection to self in body, emotions, mind, and spirit can occur. So they're designed on a foundation of universal, unconditional high regard. So when we signed up for the link, our circle participants agreed to treat each other with unconditional high regard, listen with compassion and curiosity, honor each other's unique ways to healing, and don't presume to advise or fix or try to save each other. We hold all the stories shared in the circle in confidence. We trust that each of us has the guidance we need within us. We rely on the power of silence to access that guidance, and participants behave in nurturing ways. So when they're in circle, participants commit themselves to listen with attention, speak with intention, and to tend to the well-beings of themselves and the whole healing circle. So members of a circle have an equal voice and are responsible for the leadership of their own healing and their own experiences. And then general Zoom courtesy here is that we'll just mute when we're not speaking. Let's try to speak from personal lived experience using I statements. We'll ask that we keep the confidence of the group by agreeing to keep what's shared here private. And the circle is trauma experienced, but we're open to all. So I just ask that in sharing, that we just kind of refrain from any graphic detail in keeping with our intention. So I have a daily spiritual practice where I listen to a lecture to cultivate mindfulness, and I've been doing this practice for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of days. And so I recently just finished a podcast. Like I ran out of new podcasts, and so I'm switching it up. And now, today was day one of listening to Alan Watts, and his podcast is called Being in the Way. And so, it there's like 30 or so of those, and so I'm really looking forward to it. I recently did a virtual training uh, about how to apply these principles into our lives in a evidence-based way. So I'm excited about that. So this I thought this would be sort of the inspiration of today's session, and that what you're seeing on the left is two quotes from the podcast, and then some artwork that I created. And those are trees that mean a lot to me. The first one being a tree that I meditated at for probably hundreds of days in a row. Uh, a tree that I discovered this summer when I camp uh, in my little RV. And a tree down below is it's a tree near my hometown that even though I live there for, I've known the area for however long, that was the first time I had discovered that tree, and it was kind of a cool connection that I made. And then there's me being a hippie, touching and talking to the trees, which I do a lot, because I think trees are smarter than me. So, I figured what we could do is we could take a look. This is a short video that just sort of speaks to the Tao and what the Tao is. So the Tao being like it's part of the component of what I was learning about this morning. So I just continued it into this. So this is a small video about Eastern philosophy. And then after that, there's a video with a personal connection. My friend Jonathan Staggers, he's part of a Mastery Circle of LA, and they meet on a regular basis and listen to the lessons of the Tao. So I thought we could example that and then do an activity where we share affirmations with each other. So an optional practice here is to listen and reflect. So just take in the information in the video, um, write, draw, paint, sketch as you're inspired. I often like to use keywords and stuff like this. Um, and then feel free to engage in the chat box. So share whatever's coming up. And then also just kind of look at, how are you breathing as you take in this information? Because usually our breath can kind of be an indicator of how we're feeling. So let's take a look at this, and what I'll do is I'll go through the two videos, and then we'll check in together with how the experience was. Thanks, everyone. So what I love about it is that it comes from, his personal experience. When we look at the story of the three of them tasting vinegar, and they all have their own point of view. It's kind of cool. I thought it was cool that, he basically thinks about and writes down what he's thinking about, and then, his whole deal is that he likes to document those experiences, and then it became a whole thing, a whole series of stories. So next, so this is a video which is an example of the lessons learned in the Tao. And this video, uh, as I mentioned, my friend Jonathan, he's part of the Mastery Circle of Los Angeles, and I had the pleasure to connect with that community, and we were looking at how the Tao works into peer support and mental health and addictions recovery and stuff like this. And it was really cool because that's the organization where Jonathan and his friend Dana collaborated to put this artistic playlist together. And the Mastery Circle of LA has been meeting every week in person for many, many years. And then when the whole world went virtual, they created this online offering as well. So, so I wanted to use that as a launching pad for this. An optional practice again is we'll listen and watch this video. Um, the transcript of what's going to be in the videos on the right hand side there. And then as you're sort of paying attention, just think of I am statements. So, what are things that you can say that you know, that you feel, that you experience, that you can be assured of in this moment? Um, that you get kind of like inspired by this. Um, and then we'll check in or we'll check out. So let's check it out. Just kind of reflecting on the idea that, essentially these were written to be like kind of like open-ended philosophies, kind of as a personal practice of checking in with when we think back to the previous video about our egos, right? Like what are we kind of wanting and needing in the moment? So part of the practice is to do a little bit of a guided meditation. So I'm looking at the time, uh, and but also I'm recognizing that there's been some check-ins around, sometimes sitting in stillness for a long time isn't fantastic for people. So what I'm gonna suggest is that I'll do a short meditation. It'll if you're feeling like you're not comfortable sitting and being silent or being still, feel free to just listen to it in reflection as you doodle or stretch or do whatever you need for your body. For others, if you wish, feel free to get into a position that's comfortable. So if you're sitting in your chair, see if there's a way to get maybe 1% more comfortable. If you can lay down, feel free to lay down. If you're able to sort of tilt your head back just a little bit and focus on resting the muscles in your face, I introduce that idea. If you lay down, you may start snoring. That would actually be an excellent testimonial to the power of the group. So I invite that too. And so just start to check in with how you're breathing right now, but not in a way that you want to disrupt it or disturb it. See if you're able to direct your mind's attention to the small details of your breath. So maybe it's checking in with how deeply you're breathing or how shallow. Maybe you're reflecting on how easy the flow is, or maybe it's a little bit pressured. For the most part, most of us here have been breathing for our whole lives, even though sometimes we hold that breath. So I like that I can tune into my breathing no matter where I am or what's happening. And if it feels comfortable, just expand the amount of air that you're taking in. You might choose to do 1%, and you might choose to double it up. As you expand in your breathing, just notice, how does it feel in your body? And if it's uncomfortable, Is there a way your body is supporting you that can allow you to just breathe through that discomfort? And if you're breathing easy, is there a way to expand into gratitude for the health? So, as you're breathing, if it feels comfortable, just shift your focus to all of the points in your body which are making contact with the ground. All those points where the force of gravity holds you and supports you in staying grounded on earth. And if it feels comfortable with your mind's eye, imagine what you look like as a tree and how you can expand in your roots in order to ground yourself. Remembering that often the roots and the base of the trunk are the thickest parts. And while the wind may blow, while the branches may bend and some break, all of the roots planted remain, forming a network. So, using your breath, if it feels comfortable to do so, expand your breath, and for the same amount of that expansion, imagine those roots strengthening. Remembering that I am not behind schedule. I am a mirror that's affected by all that is me and is all around me. I am, that's enough. And in a moment, focus on your breath and just try to shift it in a way that allows your presence to return back to this space. I would say that on a scale of 1 to 5, the group was very much a 5. And that the relevance of the material, again, I would say it was a 5 because, well, much like a kid who wants to be the player one, I like to control my content and I feel secure in this content. It's made a big difference in my life. So I'm biased though. The group discussion was amazing. I always appreciate it. This feels the most deeply personal for me. And the presenter, well, I don't know, maybe a 3. He could have used maybe a bit more personality. The most helpful part for me was just sort of being affirmed of the connection with some of the creative sides of this material. The most important thing I learned was that uh, e- basically I can be like a tree at any point in time. I can simply exist where I am and try to expand in my roots. And a comment I'd like to make about the experience is just gratitude. Um, and just for today, I will practice what I preach. And I will check in with my breathing when I need to. I'll ask for support when I need to. And if all else fails, I'll just sit still.